Welcome to the November 17th, 2020 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm a little staccato today. I am your host, vysethebold, and I'm here with one of my very favorite people.
And I am Lotus Prince, and I'm very legato today.
Oh, I thought I was here with James Franco, sorry.
Oh, son of a bitch!
Fuck, how did I make this booking error?
So good.
Of all the nights, I have to get in touch with his publicist. Jesus. Boy, is my face red.
Look, I'm going to be Franco with you.
Oh, maybe even Dave. So, we actually had some interesting stuff happen this week, but not a ton of stuff. So, let's hit it off the top. I mean, like, the biggest thing is the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles are out this week.
There's a fifth PlayStation system?
In fact, there have been...
7, right?
There have been 7 now. Yeah, with the PSP and the PS Vita.
Yeah.
So, well, there's also the Pocket Station.
Oh, the Japanese
very
thing.
pejorative.
Yeah.
If we're getting, if we're getting very persnickety, but the verdict is that they're pretty nice systems. Hardware-wise, I'm getting the feeling that the Xbox is seems like it's better put together. There's less rattling and shit like that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of whines and hisses coming out of PS5s apparently. But it looks like a real solid for the Xbox. I mean, it's basically a solid block. So, but it looks like it's pretty nice. PS5. I mean, people are complaining about how ugly it looks.
They're not wrong, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, and
just wait until the PS5 Slim comes out because you know what's coming. They've been doing this shit since the PS2.
Yeah,
actually, since the PS1,
art.
Kind of.
It's very modern art. I mean, they've always done an update. They've always done a hardware update. I don't know too many systems other than failed ones that have never had a system update. Even the Wii U didn't have one. Obviously, the Virtual Boy didn't have one.
Well, the GameCube didn't either, but the GameCube was fine.
The GameCube was a success, and so was the N64. So maybe I'm meeting my words.
Well, I mean, I guess it got to a point. Although then again, Sega had the Genesis had 3 versions. So what do I know?
Well, and the Saturn only had one very minor update.
Yeah, there are 2 Saturns, but
not really. They have no abilities over each other, and their aesthetics are barely different.
Yeah, you'd have to double check to make
buttons.
sure.
It's just the buttons.
Yeah.
And the internal stuff is mushed around, but
it's just different enough to make it so you'd have to decide between a Phoebe or a Ray.
I would hesitate to call that a major hardware revision.
Yeah.
The PS3 had two, a bunch of different SKUs, but the major things were the
launch and slim.
Launch, then slim, and then there was a slimmer. After that, there was a third version. So, but yeah, I mean, PS4 had 2, only 2. Xbox had 3.
Although there was a PS4
Xbox
Pro.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 2.
Okay.
And Xbox One had three versions. Yeah, the Xbox.
Who the fuck knows how many versions they had? Because they're all named something weird.
Xbox One S and then Xbox One X.
Yeah, but then there's the Series X and the Series whatever. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I tell people, wait for the first revision if you can. Yeah. Because the first revision is usually ends up being the the version of the system that has the staying power.
Yeah, the
like,
one that doesn't red ring or yellow light. Yeah.
Not only that, but it's also becomes like the iconic like version usually. Like you have like the DS Lite, for instance, and you have like the new 3DS. You know, those are all you know, the iconic versions of those consoles. You know, nobody thinks of the DS Fat. Nobody, you know, when I go back and think about a DS, a Nintendo DS, nobody thinks about the fat version, right? With the PSP, you know, you always think about like, you know, the second or third version of it, you know, with the video out. So yeah, you know, take it with a grain of salt at the moment, but like they're really neck and neck. A lot of the outlets are basically just saying, you know, there are very little exclusives out for either of them, and the ones that are, it goes in the favor of the PS5, which
I mean that's the thing. There are like a few games out for each. Like this is not multiple years into the console war, so you know of course. Like what do you think? I mean the big advantages are also the backwards compatibility, which is pretty nice. You can entertain yourself with better working versions of the games you already own as well.
Yeah, and the Xbox has the advantage in that regard because it has more generations. It goes all the way back in some capacity, not all of it, but in the capacity that it does have all the best games for at least the Xbox, the original Xbox, the OG. There are some notable omissions, but the best stuff that you're hoping for is going to be there. Just basically some Sega stuff with some licensing issues isn't on there, and that's it.
I don't care just so long as I can play Shadow Complex. Oh, fuck!
I think you can, actually.
Did they change that for the PS4 or the PS5?
You can't on the PS5.
Okay.
But you can on the Xbox.
Actually, one thing about the PS5, I actually forgot about this. It's not in the show notes, but I think it's impossible to play PT even if you do successfully transfer it over.
Yeah, we actually talked about that last week.
Yeah,
if you remember.
So yeah, there you go. But like, it's just like, oh yeah, that's right. I did mention the only people who could play it are the ones who could play it anyway. But that's still like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, all of the biggest and best PS4 games are compatible with PS5, and in a better version anyway. So. If you're looking for stuff to complain about there, it's very minimal. So if you want to pick one for the holiday season, I would say the PS5. Just based off of Demon Souls is out, and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. From what I hear, Spider-Man is just a very entertaining game to play. And Demon Souls is Demon Souls, which means I'm going to like it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about buying it, but it's one of those $70 games.
Yeah, I'm not paying fucking $70 for Demon Souls.
$70. Yeah.
Fuck you. I'll buy it when it's like $25.
It is a launch game, so you know, I expect eventually for it to be on the pricey side, but it's already on the pricey side. Yeah, $70 game. So, but those are the two games that I would buy right away if I had one of these. At the Xbox Series X, I think if you ask me, is better poised to be an entertainment device. Like, you know, it has all your apps and all that kind of stuff, and the PS5 does too, but it's just not as easy or clean with the interface.
It's just not as simple and clean.
Yeah, it's don't bring her up. I don't know if you looked about on Twitter about her lately, but.
I don't know. The last thing I saw was her post saying "thank fucking goodness" when the election was decided.
Well, I heard she was spouting a bunch of conspiracy bullshit.
I'll have to look into that.
Was it Ichiro Yamane?
No, that's the Castlevania composer. I'm talking about Utada Hikaru, the Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, okay. No, she's fine.
Yeah,
she's fine. I got them mixed up.
Yeah.
I got them mixed up. But Ichiro Yamane, not the best look right now.
Yeah, and she's the one whose autograph I have. Well,
I mean, one of my favorite composers ever.
Yeah.
Also, Hideki Naganuma has been sticking his foot in his mouth lately. So, and we praised him not too long ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, such as the note.
There's always something.
Well, I think.
I mean, at least in his case, he was shitposting, but like crossed the line.
And then doubled down on it.
That's true.
You can tell that he really.
He had that one post where he's like, "I'm just going to ignore this," and we're like,
But anyway, these consoles are neck and neck. Just pick your favorite. I mean, really. I mean, I see Microsoft etching ahead because I think they're going to buy at least one more big company that you're going to care about. And possibly two, or having a very close relationship. I think they are poised to buy Sega. That's been a rumor, but Sega just got rid of a lot of their overhead, and I don't think it's by selling their arcade business.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a coincidence. I think they're gearing themselves up to look a little bit better on the books, and Microsoft owning Sega would be a really cool deal. I mean, that means they would have like some Japanese cachet, to try to get in with some Japanese gamers.
Yeah, they're already like just starting a bit with the Yakuza stuff.
Yeah, but I further think that either they are one of the very few companies that would have enough money to buy Steam if they wanted to, or buy Valve if they wanted to, or have a very lucrative partnership with them. So I don't know if I really think they're going to buy them, but I that's a big purchase, but it would fit with what they are. So I don't think they should. I don't want them to, but I do think Steam being on the Xbox would be a very good thing in a store capacity, in playing games capacity, and not like it was on PS3 where it's just like connecting to your friends or whatever.
Yeah.
No, like a meaningful capacity. The Xbox is just one of those computers that your games can run on.
Mm-hmm.
I would really, that would cinch it for me. I would buy an Xbox Series X right away if it got that feature. So I did want to go double back to Demon Souls remake. It's apparently good, but it's like one of those things. But some of the people making it, like people have pointed out that they probably don't understand entirely the nuances of the original design of a lot of the characters, things like that.
I mean, like, I get that. Like,
yeah.
You are not Miyazaki,
Well, my point is they should have worked with them in order to figure out what was important.
Now,
so
what do you mean aspects of character design?
Okay, so for instance, the gigantic fire demon. That's
the dragon god.
2. The dragon god is supposed to have familial resemblance to his brother, who is another character in the game.
Wait, are we
aesthetically?
Are we thinking of different characters now?
Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe I'm picking out the
brother.
Yeah, apparently. Let me see.
The dragon god is the big fuck off dragon who's the boss of World 2, who's the guy you get to see if you beat the tutorial.
I'm probably misquoting this, but
are you talking the red dragon and the blue dragon?
No, not dragons. They're humanoid, but one of them's a giant red thing.
Wow, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Let me see if I can find this post on Twitter, because I'm mucking it all up. I know I am.
I can't even think of brothers in the game. The closest I can think of are those two blacksmiths who are friends with each other.
Maybe that's it.
One of them has sort of like dragon scale arms a little bit, but they're both human size.
Yeah, maybe I'm just saying it wrong. But apparently, like the aesthetics have changed enough where it's noticeable. Let's just put it that way.
That's fair enough. Because like when you said the big dragon, I was thinking dragon god. Because like one distinctive feature I remember of that guy is he's got like, I think it was 3 eyes on each side of his head, and that was a wink to, of all games in the world, Eternal Ring, where they have elemental dragons and the earth dragon is just straight up the dragon god, and he never does anything. Anytime you pass him by, he's just sleeping, and you're like, oh, look at that. And that's kind of it.
Yeah, there was just some post that somebody made, and you know, I don't know Demon Souls as well as Dark Souls, so take it with a grain of salt. Because I only played Dark Souls. I didn't get very far in Demon Souls because I was too neurotic. Which
I mean, I know that
funny.
feel.
I was too neurotic at the time. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, let me see if I can find it. But either way, some of the detail and nuance was left on the table.
Sure.
When the transition happened. So,
which is ironic, because if a lot of gamers can point this out, like, how are the people who are remaking this thing not, like, missing it?
Well, they probably just wanted to put a new coat of paint on it, which is understandable, but they didn't realize that, like, the characters are designed specifically that way for a reason. Let's just put it that way.
Well, so like you're talking about the kind of thing like, oh, wouldn't it be cooler if the character looked like this?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You know, more streamlined to, you know, give it you know, a fresh coat of paint, but then like you take away an important detail in its execution. So
sure.
Demon Souls, is their brother anywhere?
I don't even think there is a brother in Demon Souls. Like, I have no idea what you're referring to, unless I'm forgetting something. Because I'm trying to think. I mean, there's the red and blue dragons. You know, you stop playing with the red dragon, and the blue dragon is just that but blue. I'm trying to think of the bosses now. The Tower Knight, Phalanx. You said they're humanoid, though. Every boss is a freaking demon.
Yeah, maybe I'm just fucking wrong.
Yeah. Because like, I have no clue where you're going with this. Like, the Penetrator, Atlant, everything in the swamp is just fucked up and weird.
Yeah, this is going to bother me until I find it, but we have to move on.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, you know, I think they fixed it up. As well. So apparently somebody told them, hey, you know, better go back on these details because they're actually important, because they're, you know, contextual storytelling, which is all that the Souls games do. But you know, moving on from that. Oh yeah, and apparently there's a secret door that was not in the original game that people are trying to open up.
That's kind of cool. I mean, I like it when there's actually something different to do instead of literally just that fresh coat of paint. You know, I can get behind that. I mean, isn't there like World 6 besides? Like, God knows what that is.
Yeah, I don't know the details, but I think that's like one of the things that people have noticed so far. I'm sure there's even more. It just, you know, doesn't it's one of those games that, you know, people are going to be picking apart until they find everything. So, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think I might know where you're going with this, because I see like an East versus West art comparison website, by the way. Are you talking the Vanguard demon by any chance?
I don't know. Is he red?
He's the tutorial boss. He's reddish.
Okay, maybe that's it.
Because they're like, here's the new one, which looks cool, but wait, the Vanguard's original design is calling into reference something from Nausicaa, which I personally would not know.
Nausicaa?
Yeah,
Nausicaa.
I mean, I understand that with, like, the Dark Souls games especially, there's a lot of Berserk references in there, and I could see, like, if you change certain things up, you'd be like, wait a minute, now it no longer resembles Guts, or, you know, something like that. Like, they were going for a particular look at the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that you probably have it better than I did.
Yeah, I mean, the Vanguard's a big, fat, red demon, and then it shows you the remake version, which, I mean, it's clearly supposed to be the Vanguard demon, but they're like, let's tweak a little bit with the mouth or whatever, but then, like, the designs were specifically chosen to be the way they were in the original, and, like, I've never seen Nausicaa, so I wouldn't have understood that something was lost with it.
Nausicaa, Justin. Nausicaa.
Is it?
Nausicaa, yeah.
It's 2 A's. But
yeah,
like,
but they say her name in the
do they?
in the movie. Yeah.
Well, shit. But I wouldn't have understood that a reference to that was being lost. I would have just noticed, oh, well, the teeth are smaller here and the horns are more curvy there. So like, yeah, there are little things that like the creators would know that we didn't, that kind of thing. So that's fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I should have this in front of me if I'm going to talk about it, but I don't.
The only thing I could think of with like relationships is like a shopkeeper in I never remember the name, the Shitty Swamp World. That place sucks. But a shopkeeper's son is like the dirty Colossus. That thing's fucking gross.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. How about the Flame Lurker?
That thing's awesome. That's just a fire demon. That's the boss before the Dragon God.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't even really know what that looks like because you can barely see it through all the freaking flames around. It's just this big flame humanoid that's way bigger than you.
Yeah, he's like the first mini boss, right? In 2.
The game doesn't really. Well, he's the second actual boss in 2 because there's a spider and then there's this guy, and then right after him is the Dragon God. You walk like 10 more feet and there's the Dragon God.
Yeah, I think it might be the Flame Lurker.
Huh. Well, now you got my
attention.
Yeah,
the Flame Lurker redesign. Here it goes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that I was correct.
All right. So yeah, there's nothing with brothers in that, but I'll take a look at the redesign, I suppose.
Yeah. Apparently, no, he's supposed to be related to somebody. That's what I read. No,
wow.
This is him.
Then if that's the case, then that's some lore that I don't recall at all.
Yeah, lore. Let me see here.
That's a new one then. Yeah, the redesign looks very different. Very different. It looks like a Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal monster. It looks cool, but yeah, the Flame Lurker had a very specific like skull face thing going on. This looks like a rock magma creature, which makes aesthetic sense, but yeah, it looks very different.
Yeah, I don't know what his deal is, but like I think he's supposed to be related to somebody.
Man, I don't recall that at all. Maybe if I read the Souls information or something, but oh well.
Yeah, but I think you're only supposed to be able to gather that from looking at him, like vaguely related, you know.
He's got a skull face. I don't know who he would relate to, but whatever.
I don't know, man.
He's an on fire skull face demon.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who does he look like? He doesn't have a fucking face. It's a skull.
He looks like everyone.
Yeah, it's like when you see a skeleton enemy. Oh, that's his brother. Like whatever.
All right. Well, we
can drop the Flame Lurker.
Yeah, let's talk about something else like Bugsnax.
Oh yeah, Bugsnax was related to the Demon Souls as well. I don't fucking know.
It's in the deep lore.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen only little tiny clips of this game where like food has legs. It's like cutesy, like a big sandwich that's a bug kind of, and you like do other food things. It's a cutesy looking game.
You know who's making this game, right?
No.
They are, I believe, the creators of Octodad.
You know what? That makes sense. I wouldn't have guessed that, but I can see it.
So apparently, it has been like the butt monkey of like everybody's jokes on the internet. Everybody's like, "Oh, I want to play Bugsnax" because it has this goofy name.
Yeah,
but
well,
apparently,
it's like the donkey joke, like Knack. Like you got to play Knack. Look at this.
Yeah,
game.
Yeah, exactly. But apparently, it's good. It's like not to be piled up on.
Yeah,
like,
no, I've heard it's a solid game. It's just like like look at this weird thing. But I mean that was the whole thing with Octodad. Look at this weird fucking game, and you like, but it's like it's fun.
It's basically a QWOP, but like, you know.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
It's just like overly complicated way to control a really stupid game with barely any.
Two of your tentacles are dedicated to being held up on your face, so it looks like you have a dad mustache.
Exactly.
It's so good.
Funny. So funny. They really took a stupid idea and really ran with it.
Yes.
Which is what's great about it. And you have children too that are not octopi.
Like nobody knows. Like the only guy who vaguely suspects is like this one sushi chef. He's like, there's something up with that guy.
Oh man. So moving on from that, um, so Yakuza Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7 is out in the United States.
Yeah, I'm hyped.
Um,
I still haven't played it yet. Like it's
did you
I need
buy
to.
it? I assume you bought it.
I did.
Yeah.
But I need to complete some other stuff first. But I look forward to playing it. I mean, you know, I go all in with the Yakuza stuff.
Yeah, and I'm just so goddamn far behind that I feel really bad. Um,
Well, the thing is, you could probably just play like Zero, and like you don't need to follow the whole series. Yakuza 7's got a different guy. You could probably play, well, definitely play Zero. That's a great standalone, and One is obviously a good standalone. And like Judgment, which is just completely in a vacuum. Um, and if I had to guess, I would say you could just do 7. It's not a Kiryu adventure.
yeah, I may start there just because it's the newest one and it's a good place to start. I mean, it's a brand new
The battle
gameplay
system is
style.
completely different. Yeah,
Yeah,
from
and I
what
like RPGs.
what
So
people have been saying online, it's like Persona without the time limits.
yeah, and everybody who's been playing it has loved it, not said a bad thing about it. And
That's the thing. Like you see
yeah.
the turn-based combat, you're like, "Ooh, I don't know," but everybody
It looks
loves
like
it.
fun.
So
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
it looks like a blast. Like all the characters are doing goofy shit constantly. And
Welcome to Yakuza. Like super
yeah,
serious plot, and everything that's not the plot is stupid.
yeah, and like they even returned to like that baby fetish guy.
Yeah,
So
you could call
like,
that guy up on your phone and he'll show up and fight. Yeah, that guy was from Yakuza 2, and
yeah.
in Kiwami 2, he became one of the competitors in the Coliseum. You're just like, what the fuck? Why are you here?
But
Be
yeah,
my
yeah,
baby.
yeah. The baby fetish thing is just really funny to me.
Well,
But
that was the
yeah,
thing in Yakuza 2, where like you do this guy a favor. He's like, "Yo, come over to this private club like that I know about. You're gonna love it." And you see it, and everyone's just wearing diapers and doing baby shit, and you're like, "Yeah, this isn't my thing, buddy." And you start to leave, and the guy's like, "What the fuck? You making fun of me?" And you have to just fight all these guys in adult diapers.
it's really funny to me. But yeah, I think it should be a lot of fun. I mean, I maybe I'll just get this one and just play this one and go back to Zero when I get a chance. So,
Well, you might want
we'll
to play
see.
Zero first because it doesn't have like a current engine. And Zero's a really good standalone game. It's very, very good. A lot of people start
Yeah,
at Zero.
I just have so many of them. I haven't played any of them all the way through.
Well, what are you talking about? America only got like 8 or 9 Yakuza games.
Literally, I own all of them and I've beaten none of them. So
Yeah.
I'm.
Do you have the PS2 ones as well?
I don't think I have the PS2 ones
Okay,
anymore.
okay.
I don't think there's.
But yeah, there's
a
0 through
reason to have
7,
those.
and then Dead Souls if you care about that, and Judgment, and Fist of the North Star Lost
Yeah,
Paradise.
I know, and I think we have we're getting an English fan translation of one of the Kenzons, or yeah, I think
Ishin or Kenzan or something.
yeah, I think we're getting that.
Oh my god,
Eventually.
like, give it to me right now. Oh
Inject
my
it into
god,
veins.
like make it, yeah, give me more.
But,
Like
yeah.
Sega in Japan is like, do you think the West would like this? And like, we liked Yakuza 6 more than you did. Like, fucking give us Ishin.
Well, apparently the Flame Lurker, I
Oh,
just
really?
did find this,
All right.
did only have like one eye or a fucked up eye
Man,
in
you
his
gotta,
original design, and then he had two in the redesign, and people were like, that's.
I don't
probably
even
the
know
reason
how
why he
you
has
would
one
notice
fucked up
that
eye.
shit. Like,
Well,
you don't really get a good look at his face, or maybe for like a second.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think there might be some lore tied to his eye or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the Souls games would do that.
Yeah.
Like you'll find an item somewhere in the game, like his eye, and you're like, oh, that's where it was. I mean, like, I know Demon Souls didn't do that, but like, that's the kind of shit they would do.
Yeah. Like you find it somewhere.
Like the location where you find the item matters because it implies
Yeah.
like that's actually the case with a lot of like armor you find, where it's like the implication is that like once you learn whose armor that was, like, oh, well, that's where the person died because you find items on corpses. So you're like, oh, so that means this adventurer made it this far before dying to something, and there's so much of that going on.
Yeah. But anyway, we should move on here. Let's see here. We also had a gigantic Capcom leak. apparently like somebody broke into Capcom servers and like held them up for ransom. Like last week, and I didn't really report on it because, like, I don't know. But apparently they didn't get a hold of any personal information, which is good, of customers. But apparently there is an info leak now due to it. So some interesting stuff like RE Village, Resident Evil Village.
I do kind of like that name with the VI.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's ILL, but VIII with a capital.
Yeah. Yeah. Resident Evil 8, essentially.
Yeah. Phantasm 4 Oblivion.
Yeah. No, that's real clever, real smart. Well, they did the same thing with Biohazard, right? Or with.
Oh yeah, Resident Evil. So like
Evil,
yeah. Like I mean, you could do that with every Resident Evil game. They all have evil in it, but
yeah, but they did it because it like evil.
And Japan got to make that work too, because Japan does not call it Resident Evil. So for them, it was like, we'll use the word evil, and it'll make the 7.
Yeah. Apparently, there's an Ace Attorney collection coming out for PS4, Switch. That has,
what does that mean? Because we already have one.
We only have 1 through 3.
That's what I mean. Like, are you talking another collection? Because I would love that.
I think it includes all 6 of the major games. That's what I gathered.
I mean, I'll take it. Like, sign me up.
So that would include Apollo Justice, which is actually my favorite game in the series. I really love Apollo Justice, which is the 4th game, and then the 2 3DS games.
Yeah, the digital only ones.
Yeah.
I will flip if they put that stuff on like a home console. That'd be so great.
I mean, I don't think we could hope for the Miles Edgeworth games to be included in that.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that, but like, come on.
Or the the Sherlock Holmes era.
Well, that's just that's just not getting localized. We're not doing that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The collection was revealed for Japan release, so who the hell knows whether we're getting this.
Well, if Sherlock's on that one, then we're not getting the collection at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see what the official details end up being.
We'll see if Japan translates it into English, and then we import it from Japan.
Jesus Christ. They're always so touchy with Ace Attorney games for some reason. I don't understand it.
Well, from what I've heard about the Sherlock Holmes thing, wasn't there something with like fighting about rights from like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's like descendants or something?
So the way that it works, and this is stupid copyright law in the United States, but apparently the way that it works is half of Sherlock Holmes's library adventures are in the public domain.
Yeah.
The other half are not. So the other half has successfully been kept out, privately owned.
Yeah.
Therefore, the characters that were and events that happened in those, like I think Mycroft is. I think Mycroft might be one of the copyrighted characters. Like Watson and Sherlock are public domain characters, but not every one of their characters.
Sure.
Including the popular ones are. Moriarty is one of the early villains, so he's
Well, he's not. I mean, I guess you're technically right in that he's a proper Sherlock Holmes villain, but he was originally intended to be like the end of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, but he's also like an arch villain. He shows up a lot,
Well, I guess he does now, but like I mean, as far as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle himself was concerned, Moriarty was like the final villain, but then he was obligated to keep writing more.
But I think he showed up early in the series. Is my point.
It's been a while since I've read him. Maybe I don't really remember that though. I remember like alluding to him at one point, but I don't remember when that happens.
Oh, whatever. Anyway, Monster Hunter Rise apparently is getting a PC version, which is like the traditional Monster Hunter game that's coming out on Switch.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That is a big deal because that means that they are not keeping that Nintendo exclusive, and they are not keeping that as they are branching out in just more than Monster Hunter World on PC, which they should be doing because Capcom really
wasn't that their number one most? Yeah, that was their best-selling game ever.
Ever.
Like, why would you not just keep doing that? Put more shit on PC. Everyone bought it.
Well, it is a multiplayer game, but like a massively multiplayer game. That version of it. So this one's going to be more on the lobby side of things.
Sure.
4 people at a time kind of thing. More, but this is a step in the right direction for sure. Apparently, they're coming out with a Resident Evil 4 VR experience, which is pretty neat, actually.
Yeah, well, what does that mean? Is that going to be like a game very much like Resident Evil 4, or is it going to be like literally a version of RE4 where you could teleport around to move through the level? Because I don't know how that would work.
My guess is that there will be settings and locations based on Resident Evil 4.
That would make sense, yeah, and they're obvious too, like village, castle, island.
Yeah, my guess is that it'll be similar to maybe a
like Doom VFR. Like it's not Doom 2016.
Exactly.
It's like here's a Doom game that's like 2016.
Yeah. I think that'll be it. I don't think it will be the exact Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Just VR.
Yeah, that's like just not feasible.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah. Especially considering it's aged poorly despite its importance in video gaming. It's hard to go back to because you can't strafe. That's just
or even move while aiming.
Move at all. That's what I mean. Resident Evil 5 really did a good job.
Not to mention you can't control the camera either. Like you can whip the camera behind you, but you can't just freely control the camera.
Yeah. Just your aim and that's it.
Yeah, and you still. It's a third person over the shoulder, but you're still playing with tank controls.
Yeah. But what a hell of a game it was, man.
I beat the crap out of that game. RE2 is my favorite, but I played 4 a lot more.
4 is gonna go down in like the history of gaming as one of the most influential video games ever made. You can't really take that away from it. We wouldn't have third person action games as they are today.
I was gonna say as they are, like Uncharted.
Any of them really.
No, just Uncharted. Everything else would have been fine.
Gears of War. I mean, there's so many games that. Metal Gear Solid even changed its entire format based off of that control scheme.
Like Dead Space.
Yeah, I mean, there's countless third-person games. Fortnite, you could even say Fortnite. That's a third-person.
That's third-person. Okay.
Oh yeah. Everybody likes to see their character. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
All the aesthetic changes and all that stuff.
No, that's true. But like Overwatch has aesthetic for days, but like it's first person. You only really get to see your character in their like end screen thing.
I don't know. Whenever I ever see anybody playing Fortnite, they're in third person mode. So.
Yeah, fair enough.
Moving on from that, there's apparently a multiplayer shooter called Shield that is in the works from Capcom. I don't know anything else about it, but in the vein of Fortnite or whatever. Devil May Cry 2's and Umbrella Chronicles source codes were dumped out of this. And apparently they have details that Google paid Capcom to the tune of something like $10 million for exclusive or to have their games on their service, and Sony paid them $5 million for timed exclusivity for like the virtual reality Resident Evil 4. But I mean, like none of that is.
Speaking of paying Capcom for exclusive on their platforms, when are they going to do Piano 3 VR? Riddle me that.
Not going to happen.
Why won't they do Piano 3?
The Gotham Library. But anyway, that stuff isn't. I'm sorry. They paid Capcom Google paid Capcom $10 million for Resident Evil 7 and 8 to put them on the platform. So. I mean, there's some interesting stuff here. I mean, the Ace Attorney thing is the most interesting thing to me, and the Resident Evil VR, for PSVR.
Yeah, I'm interested in both of those.
But I don't like the way that this was gotten. I mean, despite us reporting on it, I don't encourage this shit. Don't do this stuff. I really hate it. It bothers me, when people have hack the shit out of these things, and then it's and some of this stuff might fall through. That's why they're internal. So also holding them for ransom. That's
Yep.
dirty shit. Moving on from that, so we on that was basically like all of the big news this week. But as far as like the nerdy like fan community stuff, I had been talking about how the Atomiswave arcade platform has been getting ported to the Dreamcast, like various games for it because the similarities of the hardware. And last week I had reported on what was King of Fighters 11. What was the other one? Metal Slug 6.
And Samurai Showdown 6. Yeah.
And Samurai Showdown 6. So 3 big titles for the platform. 3 other big titles for the systems also just got released this week. Like the guy who's doing this is real snappy with this. 3 a week. It's like the pace that he's cranking them out, which is like really amazing. He must have like done a lot of the work up front, you know, in converting these things. But the titles that he released this week are like the most sought after ones that were remaining. So Neo Geo Battle Coliseum is one of them. So Neo Geo Battle Coliseum is, think of King of Fighters, but like even more.
Yeah, it's pretty esoteric.
SNK characters are allowed to be included in it.
Yeah, like you can play as
characters, Samurai Showdown characters.
Yeah, Metal Slug characters, because you can play as Marco and Mars people.
Yeah, Mars people. Yeah,
that was bizarre.
Yeah, but so this is kind of like a spiritual successor to SVC Chaos.
Yeah,
SNK
kind of
versus Capcom's Chaos, but it's with only with SNK characters, obviously. But it's a really neat game that really didn't get the love it deserved, and it doesn't get ported up very often, obviously, because you know.
Yeah, I've seen it for the PS2, and I think nothing else.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. So it's really neat that this one's getting it's a native. It's running as a native Dreamcast game, which is really neat. This is not emulation. This is like straight up port, which is really, really cool. These games potentially run better than their PS2 counterparts because those are all emulation. I bet you they just straight up do. And there's no lag or anything like that. They run just like they would in the arcade, which is really amazing. A racing game called Faster Than Speed also got ported, which is apparently really fun and really well suited to the analog stick on the Dreamcast. Apparently, it controls super, super well. And probably the biggest title that everybody's been wanting, which is Dolphin Blue, which is a Sammy game that has never been ported before, so it's kind of like one of those holy grail titles. It's rare in the arcade, and so therefore it's just like one of those games that's been talked about for a long time. But essentially, it's a game that plays a lot like Metal Slug, like a run and gun title, cartoony one. But it has like a lot of nautical themes to it, including like being able to ride a dolphin. So like it's less military themed and more nautical themed than Metal Slug. But apparently it's a lot of fun. So people are really amped. That's like the big like holy grail title for this this platform. And there's plenty of other titles. I believe there's a fishing game that a lot of people really want because the Sega arcade fishing games are always a lot of fun. Like the ones on the Dreamcast are a lot of fun, and you know, you can use the like the Dreamcast official fishing rod. That was actually a real controller that they made, and those you can make fun of them all you want, but they were a lot of fun. And one of their games was on the Atomiswave and is compatible with the controller apparently. So that's I'm waiting for that. And there's a few other like you know pretty fun games. I think the NeoWave, King of Fighters NeoWave might be one of the titles. But yeah, there's a few that everybody's waiting for. But I mean, this is really cool. I gotta throw my hats up to the modder who's doing this. I don't know his name unfortunately, but it's really really cool. Moving on for that, friends of the show, Kurt Collada and his staff at Hardcore Gaming 101 is putting out a new book, and I'm super excited about this one. I think
yes.
you already have this one on order as well, right?
That's right.
He is putting out a Shin Megami Tensei and Persona guide. his unofficial guide to all of them. And if you've never read one of Hardcore Gaming 101's books, they are super comprehensive. Go into extreme detail on every entry of the series of any given subject, and all their ports, all of their versions, and like even go into like esoteric, like Japanese only games and things like that. There will probably be a lot of analysis on origins of like certain characters, and there's all kinds of like mythology thrown into Shin Megami Tensei. Demons and things like that, so I'm expecting some background on that kind of stuff too. So this is a super interesting series, and probably a very painstaking one to do a book on, considering how old this series is. I don't think a lot of people realize, when they play something like Persona 5, which is a modern game, that this series has roots going all the way back to the Famicom.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I was going to say PS1, but that's just Persona. No. But the original Famicom was like, it wasn't even Shin Megami Tensei, it was just Megami Tensei.
Megami Tensei based off of a book series, actually.
Yeah. And by the way, for people who really want to get a crazy piece of trivia here, this was the whole catching monsters and having them fight with you. This predates Pokemon.
Yeah. I think was it Shin Megami Tensei 1? The original has that aspect of the demon collecting, and I think that was before Pokemon, or maybe it was Megami Tensei. One of the very early ones has the demon recruiting, which is something that Pokemon kind of aped, and then they aped it back with Demi Kids, so which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, super interesting series. Obviously, a series that has spawned a lot of really like different fan groups that have gone in different directions. I mean, you have the people that are still Shin Megami Tensei fans that are like super hardcore and like the really difficult stuff, and then you have the flashy Persona stuff that like a wider audience loves at this point. Starting with Persona 3, that series really went mainstream. So, really, really cool stuff. So I'm really looking forward to this. I bet the book's going to be pretty thick too, because there's so many games in that series, and so many like remakes and stuff too. So that'll be fun to take a look at. Also, this week on Tuesday, a pretty landmark Batman hardcover comic is coming out, a collection of, I think it was a 3-part series called Batman 3 Jokers, by Jeff Johns, one of the most prominent, DC writers. I just wanted to quickly mention it because it's like one of those things that like kind of rocked the comic book community when it came out, and it's of course controversial because they do some continuity stuff with Joker in clarifying his origin, and it is pretty bananas. So I'm not going to ruin it at all, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know the entirety of the implications of it or how it ended up, but I do know that they drop like there's like an iconic like panel on that was going around Twitter of like a revelation that happens in it, and it's just bananas.
Is this? Yeah, like I mean, I don't want to say anything at the risk of giving something away, but like I think I know what you're talking about. Joker. Yeah.
It goes into the nature of the Joker. So
yeah,
I don't know whether how that's resolved, or whether it sticks or whatever, or whether it's in continuity or whatever. But I really love Batman stories, and even like even the non-continuity ones and stuff like that. So I'm more than willing to give it a shot and see whether I like what they do. Obviously, take any continuity in comics, especially Batman, with a grain of salt, because if fans don't like it, they'll just write it out. They'll just say it was an alternate dimension or something stupid happened and it was all a lie, like
it was all a dream.
It's like what they did with Grant Morrison's X-Men. Like, it was the coolest thing to happen to X-Men, like, since Chris Claremont. They did he did all kind. I shouldn't say he. They Grant Morrison recently came out as non-binary. I apologize. But they crafted a really neat story where X-Men were getting secondary mutations, and they were like doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Like they were also going to
was
replace.
This the kind of was this the kind of thing where like Cyclops' like secondary power is having an innate sense of geometry, so he can ricochet his shots?
That's actually where that comes from.
Okay.
The White Queen, instead of just having her psychic powers, she can also turn into a diamond.
I was gonna say, does she also develop proper grammar so she no longer says she welcomes you to die?
No,
I guess not.
There's like a bunch of cool stuff. That they came up with, but it ended up being that it was so radical. Like some of the changes that they made were really going to change the Marvel universe. Like one of them being that X-Men and mutants eventually were set to overpower humanity as like the next evolution, the next step of humanity. And there was this whole line called E is for extinction, and I guess that was just too radical for readers at the time. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was like, oh man, you do it. Like, mess with that continuity. Let's fuck it. Let's go. Let's do something new. And you know the way that people that are big fans of something for a long period of time are. They don't like change.
Yeah, they get very invested.
Yeah, and I just want a good story, so I don't care. And especially in comics, you can always dial it back. Come on.
Yeah.
But they wrote it out of continuity. Because of what happened there. People hated it. They had a knee-jerk reaction. Their main consumer base hated it. Nowadays, it's actually considered one of the best arcs ever in X-Men. Like you look it back and the rankings of like the best X-Men stories. It's right up there with Dark Phoenix Saga, with notable stuff. So it's just like one of those things. But I wanted to give this one a shot. I have it pre-ordered, so I'm gonna read it. Also, I wanted to bring up that Gorillaz Valley of the Pagans that we talked about with that GTA video.
Yeah.
Last week, if you go and try to find that video, you will not be able to find that anymore.
Yeah, that was weird, because like I went to their video page when I saw you add this to the notes, and I was like, no, there it is. But then I was like, oh wait, that's the 18-second trailer. Like,
it's the 18-second trailer, and then there's also a lyric video of it, so like a non music video version.
You're like, don't tell me they got called out on video footage, because that never happens.
So
it wasn't even cutscenes.
Apparently, they didn't iron out everything with Rockstar, which I find very surprising. Like, who puts out a music video and then like didn't have all the shit ironed out? I don't know. Maybe they thought, oh, there's a billion people with GTA 5 footage.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, it's not a cutscene. Who gives a shit?
Well, they're also using
they're using someone else's assets to make money.
Their product, yes.
Yeah.
So like, even though you think it's harmless, it isn't.
And not to mention, from what I've heard about Rockstar, as much as it loves making fun of like other companies, it has a real stick up its ass.
Yeah. Well, they're a machine for sure. So anyway, it apparently they still don't have everything all ironed out. So that's kind of a shame. I actually have been following, like people have been talking about it on the Gorillaz subreddit, and I've been trying to follow it, see if anybody has any information. But apparently that appears to be like the case. Is that
you know what it was? Damon copyright claimed his own video because he saw the use of the plastic beach in it. He's like, you can't do that shit. I made the plastic beach.
It's a shame because there's a lot of little details in this specific video that were a lot of fun. And I really like kind of Beck in the corner doing this thing too.
On a little cell phone video. Yeah.
So like, it's really a shame that we can't find it anymore. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's back up. Maybe it'll be back up. But I think as of right now, the only way you could see it is like other people have put it back up,
Yeah. Somebody
official
downloaded it when they
Gorillaz.
shouldn't have, which
Yeah,
ironically is what saved it.
yeah, exactly. So, might it for your archivists out there, maybe you might want to try to find a downloadable version of it, because who knows whether we'll ever be able to see it again. It's a shame because it's a good music video. It stinks. And just one final thing from me. I've been watching The Mandalorian, and I've been having a really good time with it. I just wanted to throw that out there. We're on the 3rd episode of the 2nd season, and it really hasn't even evolved the meta plot very much for this season. But I'm really enjoying kind of like that serialized nature of the show that like I remember from like watching episodes of like Xena when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean,
like
episodes of anything back in the day, like you don't have to have followed this show for years in order to understand the current episode. Like there's something relaxing about that.
Yeah, I mean, like there obviously is like little tiny bits of progression.
Well, sure, but I mean, like the whole. I mean, you're watching this on a streaming service, so you could binge it if you wanted to. But like the whole thing is back when TV shows were
not on Disney Plus. So Mandalorian is put out one episode at a time, just like The Boys was.
Well, no, I mean that's fair enough, but like you still could theoretically binge it with the service you have once it's all out. But like,
that's true.
Yeah, the fact that it's being released once a week is a throwback. But like, what I was going to mention is that when TV shows were literally TV shows, like on TV, if you missed it, you missed it. So they had to design episodes around that, so you wouldn't just quit the series if you missed episode 15 or something. So anything you could at least figure out enough of what was going on to not be lost.
Yeah, exactly. And you would never want to be lost because that ended up being a bad show. But
that is true. That's what happens when you get paid to make more seasons that you weren't expecting to make.
When we were kids, we had a lot of syndicated shows that had like meta stories that like evolved very slowly. So every episode kind of told its own narrative, and then that was it. So and then eventually, you would come across a new character that would be inserted in the show, for good, during a certain thing. But by and large, it was really easy to follow from episode to episode. Like episodes like TV shows like Star Trek: The Next Generation, for instance, were really popular that were like that. Or Hercules and Xena. Those were two big shows like that. Highlander was like that. It used to be a thing, that like every show now has like gigantic arcs and try watching a random episode of The Boys. You can't do it.
Well, no, that's I mean, like that kind of goes back to what I said. Like you can't just be like Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard. I love that show. Let me go back and watch episode 4. Like that's not the same. It doesn't work quite like that.
Yeah, I mean, like. I'll admit that you can watch something like The Office, like in a vacuum. There is a story, with the progression of relationships in that show. But like by and large, you can watch an individual episode and still have a fun time.
Yeah, they aren't like for the most part, they aren't the focus. So you'd be like, oh, those are more romantically inclined than I remember. But oh well, let's see what's happening with the actual plot.
Yeah, but I'm just really enjoying it because like I always kind of dreamed of a Star Wars live action TV show. There have been many animated ones that have been excellent. By all accounts, I've never really watched any of them to any large capacity.
Speaking of which, I've heard this season of The Mandalorian alludes to one of the Clone Wars series.
Yes, so actually that pops up in the finale of the first season of Mandalorian. It's actually like the twist. Is that there is an allusion to a specific item that is something that is very, very important to Clone Wars. So, but I don't know. I'm not going to reveal any of that nature, because that's a big, nice reveal at the end of the first season, and the show is still very popular right now, so I'm not gonna drop that. But I hear it also makes that bit canon, because Mandalorian's like some of the stuff is more canon than others. Like the comic books aren't, nearly as canon as the movies are, that kind of thing. So
yeah.
things are more malleable with the comic book continuities, But this is a great show. I always hoped a live action show would pop up, because what it does is it takes the pressure off of I think that's really what happened with this new trilogy. Is just like there's so much pressure to make this like the best thing
every
ever.
year. Make another one. Like, all right.
Make it the best thing ever, and it fell on its face several times.
Well, yeah. Step one of making the best thing ever is have a fucking plan. That'd be nice too.
Have one person like draw up a fucking outline and then hit every.
Yeah, exactly. You can have different directors like the Marvel Universe, but have a fucking plan, which they did not. They actually directly clash with each other.
Yeah, and that's a really big shame. They should have had somebody really good and really smart. Upholding, the shepherding the Star Wars franchise, because like that's what makes things good. I mean, you have this the brothers that are the Marvel brothers. They were
Thor
in
and Loki.
Development. No. The director brothers.
Oh Christ, the Russo brothers.
Russo brothers. They're the ones who even though they might not be directly involved in every movie, they also are crafting
the overall outline.
Yeah. And
do whatever you want in the movie, as long as we like give us a nod in this direction of the universe. Yeah,
exactly.
Put one of the what do you call them? Put one of the Infinity Gems in your movie at some point. Okay, fine.
Yeah, exactly. And it all led up to something really fun and really satisfying, right? DC needs that kind of leadership. They don't have it.
What if we made the Justice League movie before we introduced who the fuck its members are? What are you doing?
What if we beg for a cut that doesn't exist, so they have to go back and do reshoots?
Yeah, so they just make another movie. What if we put Jared Leto's Joker in it? What? What are you thinking? I mean, at least they'll be consistent with he'll have just as much reason to be in that movie as he did in Suicide Squad.
I can't wait for the new one, by the way.
What do you want to do? Like Mystery Science Theater your way through it?
Well, the new one's going to be by James Gunn, and the amount of...
Oh, I thought you meant the Snyder Cut. I'm sorry.
No. I mean like the new Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Suicide Squad. I mean, they revealed that there are so many characters in this that I know they're going to kill off tons of them.
Okay.
They're characters that don't matter. And a lot of them are really stupid, so like on purpose. So I know Nathan Fillion's gonna die. For instance, like Nathan Fillion's character is really stupid.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like in Deadpool 2. Like, I'm Shatterstar. Get ready for my powers. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, whatever, man.
He's a arm fall off boy.
Oh, you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah. He's probably like, make me arm fall off boy, please. And then fucking kill him.
I want to be arm fall off boy. I had another character planned for you, arm fall off boy.
Yep. Real DC character, by the way.
Make Lloyd Kaufman into a character and kill him off. That'd be hilarious. Because Lloyd Kaufman just kind of exists, in his cameos. I want to see him like be a character. Like, how Stan Lee slowly over the course of his cameo career was slightly more of a character in each movie he would show up in.
Yeah, he kind of had like
in X-Men, you really might miss him, and then in like Hulk, he's like front and center.
Yeah, and he just like he straight up had lines later on, like
yes. He was like the guy like at the porn theater in Deadpool. You're like, what? This is weird.
Yeah, he's in a probably his most prominent one was the one where he was like hanging out with the Watcher. I think it was in Ragnarok.
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
And he also was very prominent in Captain Marvel, which I think was his last one.
Okay.
So he was talking about his he was reading his script for his cameo in Mallrats, which was because it was like it took place in the 90s. So
that's funny.
Cool. But anyway, we have hit the end of the show unless you have anything else to add here, Lotus.
No, I think I'm good.
You're the worst of the Franco brothers, really.
No. Oh, full circle. You're some sort of craftsman.
That's saying a lot.
You had this plan from the beginning. You're better than the directors of the fucking Star Wars new trilogy.
I have a better plan for my show.
Even if your plan sucked, it was still a plan.
Yeah, exactly. That's the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Help promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. Come on, throw us both. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, where we will end our review of the Suda51 Life and Times and all of his games. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much everything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, currently doing Blood Omen, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
All right, everybody, catch you on Tuesday.
Until next time, everyone.